tell us about another memorable case that you might have done during your long career.
Well, I had the pleasure of representing a defendant in the Abscam case, and most of our listeners would probably know it by the movie. What's it called? I forgot. American Hustle. Yeah, and I didn't even know that movie was about it until one of the lawyers with whom I worked during that time told me that it was a case that I had worked on. There was no mention except one reference to Florida in the movie, but it was a memorable case because I got a not guilty in that case for my client.
In that case, your client was charged with what crime?
Well, he bribery. He gave money to a congressman.
Okay.
From people who wanted some better laws to benefit them.
Gotcha.
And those are all that happened in all the cases that you saw in the movie, as well as in Florida, but they didn't include our case.
So this would have been a federal case, a federal prosecutor, and you're arguing it in federal court.
Yes.
And so from generally, what's the difference for you being in court, whether it's a federal court or a local circuit court?
Well, federal court is really tough because they really have things together. They have rules which benefit the prosecution more so than in state court. And after I did a lot of federal cases involving drugs and the mules that brought the drugs in, I decided after a while that was enough, and I wanted to go back to state court. In state court, we get all the evidence that the state has against the client, so it's a fair deal. And once I quit taking federal cases, I continued, just a state practice.
In your 42 years as a criminal defense attorney, have you seen a shift or a change in the types of crimes that are people being charged with, or you just happen to be defending?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I know that you said you did moonshine and cattle rustling cases. I mean, we're talking Old West.
Yeah, I was a young man. Those were the cases that were around at the time, so I took them, But I see a lot of drug and alcohol-related cases, also a lot of domestic violence cases, which is really a shame. We usually work those out and get the client help. But those are the kind of cases that I generally handle throughout my career.
Very good. Hey, folks, my guest today is attorney Dennis Salvagio. He is a criminal defense attorney here in Orlando who has the pleasure of being ready to retire. We're talking to him about what he's going to do during his retirement, also known as a fat guy at Orlando Magic.